Here's how I load and baste quilts on my long arm. I start with my pieced quilt back. You can use wide backs, but this one I pieced, and I also use Renee's red snappers. They are a huge time saver compared to pins, and you're not going to poke yourself. You just have to push hard with the heel of your hand to get it to attach, but they're a great system. Then I'm going to straighten out my quilt back, and you can see that I haven't ironed this. I usually just mist it with a little bit of water, and when I'm rolling it tight, it just works out all of those wrinkles, so you don't have to worry about it. I roll it all the way up to the bottom, and once I get to the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing with my Renee's red snappers. I start in the middle and go out to the sides, and I smooth everything along as I go. Once the bottom is attached, I can start rolling it forward, and I'll roll it all the way up until I get to the top of my quilt back. You can see here that my pieced backing seam goes parallel to the bars and not horizontal. If you do it horizontal, it's going to be super tight in the middle and saggy on the ends. I had to learn that the hard way. If you have a little bit of sagging or looseness here or there, that's okay. Just roll it all the way back to the bottom, all the way back to the top, all the way back to the bottom, all the way back to the top. Do that a couple times, and that will usually work out any weird sagginess that you have. Once I have any sagginess worked out and it's exactly how I want it to be, then I'm going to lock each of my bars, and I will slowly and gently tighten it, just one snap at a time. You can also see right there that I have an idler bar. If you don't have an idler bar, I would strongly suggest that you get one. It has really saved me. You want your quilt to be completely level. Now, I buy my batting by the bolt. It's just way cheaper to do that. And with the volume of quilt that I make, it's just what I do. So I buy 90 inch because usually I'm doing throw size, and that's the perfect size. So I roll it from one side to the other, and then I can lay my quilt top down and make sure that I'm for sure gonna have enough batting and everything is covered. And then I'll cut down using razor edge shears, and it's not perfect, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna cut it off on the end anyhow. Then I'll smooth out my batting, and I will line up the straight edge, not the edge that I cut, but the straight edge along my idler bar. And then I will put my clips on. If you don't have clips for your frame, I would strongly suggest investing in them. They'll provide with that perfect amount of tautness that you need, and you can tighten them up to exactly where you need them to be, and you won't have any saggy edges. Then it's time to baste my batting. Now, not everybody does this, but I do it, and I'll tell you why in a second. The way that you use it is use your channel lock. So scoot it all the way back and then reach back behind there and turn on your channel lock. This way you can't move it forwards and backwards, only side to side. My machine is threaded. I have it set to about a 5 or a 6 for basting. And here's what you need to do. Keep your top thread above your foot and then do a single stitch. This will bring up your bobbin thread. A lot of quilters don't do this, and you're gonna end up with a thread nest. Even if you do automation, make sure you bring your thread up from the bobbin first so you can avoid thread nest. You don't want to have beautiful quilting and a giant thread nest you have to deal with. Now, because I have my channel locks on, I can slowly go basting along from one side to the other. If you're doing this from right to left and you don't have really great quality thread and go slow, you're going to snap your thread. It was a huge frustration of mine in the beginning, but I quickly learned. Now I have a perfectly straight line for me to line my quilt top up against. So I can smooth everything out. I like to hang my quilts or float my quilts rather than roll them up as well. That's just me. And then you can turn off your channel locks, move your machine up a 1/4 inch or so, reach back behind there, turn your channel locks back on, and then you can slowly baste along your quilt. Again, I'm going side to side, so I'm going nice and slow. I'm gonna smooth out any puckers that might show up. I just go nice and slow and just let the machine do the work. Now, some quilters also baste along the sides. I do sometimes. I just freehand that because reaching that channel lock way in the back is way too far, and I don't like getting up under my machine. So I usually just freehand this, or most of the time, honestly, I just pin the sides and then I just stay clear of them when I'm doing quilting. So if you're doing side to side, like off the edge quilting, with automation especially, I would not pin baste, but I don't have automation, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm also going to pin baste when I get down to my very bottom row of quilting and I have the bottom of my quilt. I'm gonna pin baste that down. And then again, I don't have automation, so I'm just gonna freehand quilt around them and make sure that I don't hit them. So I've been long arming for a couple years now, maybe almost 3 years now. I'm not an expert by any means, but this is basically what I do every time. Hope it helps.